Hey everybody, welcome to Goots' Wrestling Pod. I'm your host, Ray Goots. I'm here with Andrew Lee, bro. Andrew Lee, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing slamming. How about you?
You know, I'm doing good. I'm going to California next week. I can't wait to get out of New York City. I'm excited. And you know what? I'll tell you what else is doing good. WCW in May of 1994. I thought this was a great show. What about you?
You know what? You're absolutely right. 90, I thought 93 WCW was good. And 94 WCW is not disappointing as well, you know?
I
And
continue to think the inspiration behind AEW was this period of WCW. I think Tony Khan, I think in Tony Khan's heart of hearts, he's like, if they didn't bring in Hogan and just kept this flavor, this company would still be in business, which I don't agree with. But it does feel like it's headed in a very interesting direction, but it's a direction that doesn't need Hulk Hogan to me right now, watching the show, right? It's definitely headed to be better than WWF, but what was really telling was at the end of the show, they say to the live crowd, um, Hulk Hogan will be on Saturday night this week. There's no pop. There's no pop in the arena. Did you notice that at the end of the show?
yeah, no. So here's a couple of things. I
Mm-hmm.
get what you're saying. Like, this is like, in a way, you kind of don't need Hogan. The show should be kept the way it is. But you can already see at this point, they're doing a lot of hiring former WW talent associated with WWF, like a Sherry,
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Heenan, right?
Mm-hmm.
A Mean Gene. They're already hiring. They're already getting a lot of the framework from WWF. So in a way, like you can see where eventually it's leading. And you want to say like Tony Khan, if he's modeling AEW for this period of WCW, and you said, oh, there'll be a mistake for him to hire Hogan. I mean, Tony Khan already made that mistake. He should have never brought in CM Punk. He did. And
Well, no. I think Tony Khan. I think in Tony Khan's mind, and this is what the internet fans said, that if they should have hired Hogan, but they should have made Hogan adopt to WCW, which I think which I think you don't get the biggest bang for your buck. No, I think ultimately hiring Hogan was the right move.
yeah,
But what I'm saying
it was.
is
Ultimately, it was the right move. They
the
made
the
shitloads of money with it.
yeah the vibe of this show feels like the vibe of this show and the vibe of the crowd feels like a crowd of today. It doesn't feel like a crowd of the 90s. And the other very interesting thing about this show, and they play into it with the camera work, Terry Funk plays into it. What are they chanting throughout the show? ECW.
ECW, yeah.
And they're not like hiding from it. Like the crowd, they do a close up of an ECW sign. Terry Funk parties with like the ECW mutants in the front. And like there's moments where the ECW mutants kind of take over the show. Like I consider like the Straw Hat guy. I don't, like, and the Straw Hat guy really rattles William Dundee in the during the William Regal match. Like he doesn't really know how to handle it.
Yeah, but I think that could also probably be part of the reason why the crowd doesn't pop so much for Hogan because this is a very ECW oriented crowd, right?
Smart.
And ECW, yeah, the smart marks were always anti Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be part of it. It's a definitely a good show, but there are flavors of them not being authentically WCW. In my opinion, you know,
Oh yeah.
because
Okay. All right. We'll get
yeah,
into it.
we'll get into it. Slamboree, a Legends reunion, a night with the classics, one ring, one moment, one mega event taking place May 22nd, 1994 in Philadelphia. We got 4,000 people in attendance. We got 105,000 buys on pay-per-view. In comparison, Slamboree 1993, the one right before, had 100,000 buys. So this pay per view has about 5,000 more buys, and however, Slamboree 93 had 7,000 people in attendance, so they're 3,000 shy in attendance. So if you guys remember, Slamboree is supposed to be like a show where they celebrate the old timers, the legends, and they'll have a couple of like legends matches and stuff like that, right? We're
Mhm.
not really. We're gonna kind of get that here. We get less, which is actually a positive. We get less.
They do. They do. The one thing I didn't like, and I also kind of feel like they should have had a banquet. Like maybe they just don't have the money yet. They grind the show to a halt, like to a halt. They grind this show to do the Hall of Fame ceremony, right? And it comes at a time where the crowd is hot and the action's hot, and it's like I'm not trying to be a dick, but you probably could have done this during the pre-show, or you probably could have, or at the very least, you could have rented out like a restaurant and done this and had like Sting give a speech. Woo!
Yeah, you know who did this well actually is AEW. I don't remember if you remember this long time ago, years ago. They did the thing where they were celebrating like the legends of like Memphis. You remember that? And they
Yeah,
had all the Memphis
I
legends.
really wasn't watching back then. I was doing more
Okay.
shows.
So what they
I
did was
remember that
they
night.
they filmed that, but they didn't show that except for on YouTube. They didn't
Yeah,
make
that's
it
kind of,
part of
well, they don't have
Dynamite.
YouTube back then, so
Yeah, but they put it on YouTube, and it's kind of like the Hall of Fame thing. You know, so they announce their name, you come out and you wave and stuff like that, right? Now, the only problem was this is 1994. YouTube didn't exist, so I get why it was on the pay per view. But I agree, it kind of like I don't know where you would put it. I don't know where you would put it though. Where would you put it on pay per view?
I don't think you should put it on pay per view. I think you should do. I think you should. But a lot of these guys, the thing about it is too a lot of these guys. We're told they're legends from the magazines. Like if you were a really hardcore fan, you bought the magazines. But like if you weren't in their territory, you didn't know them. Like now, if WWE decided we're going to just Clash of the Castle, we're stopping Clash of the Castle to give Mark Jindrak an award. People know who that is. He's all over the network. I mean, he's not going to get a big pop, but it's like, oh, okay. Like I don't know why you're giving Mark Jindrak an award, but people know who it is. Same like, hey, we're giving Mark Jindrak and fucking Balls Mahoney's family a fucking bouquet of flowers. But like Red Bastien, I hear about him a lot. I don't know that fucking guy. And back then, they probably knew less about this guy. So it's like, I don't, and they all look like fucking used car salesmen. They don't look like stars.
Yeah, it was. You know what they could have done? VHSs were out. They could have filmed it and say, if you buy the VHS, you get to see the whole presentation. Maybe like that. Like you're right.
Yeah.
Maybe keep it off the pay per view, but in the VHS, make it like a special feature. So that's why you want to buy the VHS.
I mean, it's a good idea. It's not a bad idea. It's a good idea, but like, it's just nobody get. I know this sounds horrible. I just don't think anyone gave a shit about half these guys except Terry, and even except for Terry Funk.
Yeah. Well, let's get right into it. Remember, this is like already celebrate the legends, and we get Mean Gene welcoming us, and we go right into the intros for the legends who are in attendance tonight. We got Ole Anderson, we got the Assassin, we got Penny Banner, Red Bastien.
I've never heard of her. I've never heard of her. I've heard of a lot. I've heard of everyone here, even in passing in stories that like Jim Ross will tell. Or I've never heard of this Penny Bannister.
Not Penny. If you will, if her name's Penny Bannister, Penny Banner. She was a wrestler, and if you actually Google her, you'll see some, pinup pictures of her. That's kind of nice.
Well, I mean, clearly Mean Gene had a hard on for her 30 years before that because he had the
yeah. She was she's still alive. No, she's not. Oh,
no, she died today.
No. She passed away.
She heard this podcast.
She passed away a while ago, but I just read it wrong. But she spent most of her time in the AWA. That's probably why we don't know her too well. The AWA. Anyways, yeah, Penny Banner, Red Bastien, Tully Blanchard, considered a legend. The Crusher. Yeah. Don Curtis.
That guy got done so dirty by the what?
Yeah, Tully Blanchard got fucked so bad.
Like he could still go. Like you could have just put him in the Horsemen with Flair and Aaron.
Why? I think at this time he had like a drug problem, right? Which is why he didn't want to do it.
He's always been vague. There's someone in WCW out to get him. He's never the thing. So he was going to get a big contract, WWF sends WCW the drug test. I don't know why WWF would do that. That makes it just sounds to me like there's like people in the industry that are determined to fuck him, and they got their way. That's that. There, he has to have an enemy we don't know about. There must be some story we don't know, like Ric Flair caught him fingering Charlotte. I don't know. Allegedly, I don't know. There has to be something we don't know about.
I think Tully Blanchard, when he was younger and he was in his prime, he was probably a lot like his daughter. He probably like rubbed a lot of other people the wrong way, and he probably snubbed a lot of them, like kind of like Tessa Blanchard did, right?
Yeah.
He treated a lot of undertown like garbage, and then it eventually came in bitter in the ass. I could probably see the same thing, and probably Tully did the same thing, because remember JBL had a problem with Tully.
Yeah, well, he got hired
like,
as an agent, and JBL cornered him and said, "You treat me like shit when I started."
Yeah, he made it like a big scene, and and Tully was basically not hired because of that. And I think Tully probably was an asshole to a lot of people. And
I know, but can you imagine like at Bash at the Beach '94, Arn and Tully and let's say like Brian Pillman come out and destroy Hogan, and then they put up the fingers, and then Dustin comes to save Hogan, and now you've got like a new war of like Dustin, Hogan, Sting versus the Horsemen.
that would have been fantastic. That would have been really good. Maybe if they did that though, we would have never got the NWO. Who knows? But that would have been good.
I mean, I just think you could like looking at Tully in this show today, you could have got another like 3 years out of him.
Oh, 100%, 100%. His tag team partner has a regular fucking match in this pay-per-view. And like he's relegated to legend, bro. It's just like kind of like they were forcing him into retirement in a way.
Yeah.
Right? Anyways, after that, we also get Vern Gagne, who gets Terry Funk's intro, and Mean Gene gets flustered. He doesn't know what to say. He also spelled his name wrong. They call him Vern Gagne.
He doesn't deserve the correct spelling. He stinks.
Yeah. It's like I felt like they were trying to. I felt like they were putting a rib on him. Like, hey, you were part of AWA, and you fucked with us. Here it is. Hard Boiled Haggerty. Never heard of him.
I heard of him.
Larry Henning, Killer Kowalski, Ernie Ladd, Wahoo McDaniels, Angelo Mosca, Harley Race, Ray Stevens, Luthez, Johnny Weaver, who was on the first Starrcade we watched.
Luthez is only like legit, like legend of that crew. Well, I mean Harley Race too, but
Harley
like
Race.
Luthez was like, as a kid, I was told like he is like the GOAT of like 30s, 40s wrestling. So like, and then Austin, you know who really helped out his legacy? Steve Austin doing the Luthez press, because every week you had Jim Ross just screaming this guy's name, the Luthez press, fuck out, like just screaming his name on Raw. So everyone knows now who Luthez is.
Yeah. Mr. Wrestling 2 and Tommy Young, the sliding ref, who was also a referee in the first Starrcade. I guess he's retired at this point. Tony Schiavone and Bobby Heenan, they're on commentary, and they say they don't know who Flair's opponent is tonight. It's a mystery opponent. And Bobby Heenan calls Flair's nuts for this. Like, why would you issue an open challenge for your title? That's crazy. And they bring in Nick Bockwinkel, who is the commissioner, I believe, of WCW at this point. And Nick Bockwinkel, he calls out Sting, and they recap what happened at Fukuoka, Japan, the match between Rick Rude and Sting. They show you clips of this match, but they don't show you the part where Sting injured Rick Rude. You can actually find it on YouTube.
They probably didn't realize that Rick Rude was done at that point. So.
Yeah, but I mean, you can find it online if you want on YouTube. But anyway, this match that happened in Fukuoka, it becomes a no contest, and they strip the title off of Rude, and they want to return it to Sting. Remember, so what happened was in this match, Rude pinned Sting on May 1st in Wrestling Dontaku, which is actually still a pay-per-view, not a pay-per-view, a show in New Japan Pro Wrestling. In Fukuoka, he became a 3-time champion. However, Rude injures his back in that match, like we just talked about, from a suicide dive that Sting does. And, Rude basically ends really badly on the raised platform. And then he landed basically on the corner of the raised platform surrounding the ring, and it basically he bent his back in a really bad way. He's unable to wrestle. When Sting gets his title, he says he doesn't want the title like this. I don't want to be like Triple H, winning that, just being handed that title on Raw. I want a match with Vader tonight, and the winner of that gets crowned the champion. And that's how it's going to happen tonight. And we do see, as Ray mentioned, ECW guys. We get the hat guy. We
Green
got
Lantern.
some other dude. We also see Vlad, Superfan Vlad.
You know what I thought? I have an idea how you do an AEW WWE invasion. This is my idea.
Okay.
So there's a new Vlad. Like there's like let's say Frank the Clown. Let's just say it's Frank the Clown, right? You know, like when AEW shows Frank the Clown in the audience in WWE, no one's like, oh my God. Like they just, okay, he's in the crowd, right? And eventually he interferes. He does something. He gets involved in an angle in WWF, and he gets physically attacked. And then he's on the next night on AEW, and he like convinces someone to come with him to WWF the next week. Like the kickstart, because if this guy's on both, this guy can be on both shows because he's a super fan, right? That just buys tickets to everything. So the super fan could cause an invasion because he's the only guy. You know what I mean? He could be like, "Oh, I'm buying." You know what? He could buy. Like, okay, so fucking Seth Rollins turns heel, accidentally hits the guy. The next week, he buys Ricky Starks a ticket to sit next to him, and now Ricky Starks is with him, and Ricky Starks attacks Seth Rollins. Like he starts an invasion to superfan because nobody blinks an eye that Vlad is on WCW and WWF. We're not like, oh my God, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's also a good way to get these dummy wrestling fans to be like, I could do the same thing, and they're probably yeah. I mean, wrestling fans are dumb as
like just imagine like the guy something weird happens with him on Raw. He's on AEW. No one's thinking about it. And then like when like Ricky Starks or I don't know fucking Kenny Omega, I'm just throwing out names, walks up the aisle, he just gives him a pat and a hug, and Kenny Omega just sort of shakes his head. Okay, you don't think about it. Then Kenny Omega's on Raw, and then this guy's the guy like bringing people back and forth. Like he just starts an invasion on his own, and no one can stop him because he bought tickets for a year.
possible. Let's get into our first match. It is for the U.S. title. Johnny B. Bad versus the champion, Steve Austin. Stunning Steve Austin coming out with Colonel Parker. Austin right away in the beginning wants to shake Johnny B. Bad's hand. And Johnny B. Bad is hesitant, but they do end up shaking hands. A little show of sportsmanship. They do show Sensational Sherry at ringside, who had debuted a month before in WCW. They cannot call her Sensational Sherry. They call her like Sensual Sherry.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Vince has the sensational trademark.
Yes. Bobby Heenan makes a lot of Indian jokes about Wahoo McDaniels as Johnny B. Bad has the upper hand for most of the starters match. Johnny, he does send, he gets sent to the outside and he gets back in. And when he gets back in, he has confetti all over his fucking back.
Sid, always the confetti.
Yeah, dude, there was so much like he gets like you said, this is gonna be like this till like 98 or something, right? Where he just every time somebody rolls around the floor after Johnny B. Bad entrance, they come out looking like a polka dot, like all over their backs. It's so funny.
Why can't they? I don't understand why they just can't have like a ring, like a fucking a ring boy just sweep it.
Yeah, I don't know why they couldn't do that. I don't know why it's like no, man, no, I don't want to hire anybody. I'm more concerned about booking the show. It's like, bro, you have thousands of people there. Can you just hire somebody to fucking sweep the floor?
No.
Anyway, Johnny B. Bad, he does fire back to gain control of the match. Parker does get on the apron trying to distract the referee, and he does distract the referee from a pinfall attempt. Bad goes to the referee to argue this and he's mad, and he ducks right when Austin's trying to hit from behind, and Austin knocks Parker off the apron, and Johnny is able to roll up Austin for a 2 count only, but the bell rings. The timekeeper, I guess, just got a little excited. The match continues. Johnny B. Bad hits his beautiful top rope sunset flip cover for a 2 count. Johnny B. Bad tries to go for his punch, the kiss that don't miss, but Austin eye pokes him. And then when Johnny goes to back suplex Austin kicks off the ropes so that he lands on top of Johnny, and Austin covers bad, and he's holding the tights, but from the front. And it's a very awkward looking pin cover, and it's a very awkward looking victory. But Austin wins, and afterwards, Johnny Bad punches Austin out of anger and trying to get back some of his heat. What do you think about this opening match? It's like I think this is the longest match on the pay per view.
Really? Didn't feel like that. Really didn't feel like that.
Yeah, who would have thought that, right?
Yeah, I thought it was great. Johnny B. Bad is just getting better. It's crazy to me. This guy's career is over. Like, not like kind of over. It's fucking over in 4 years. I'm talking about Johnny B. Bad. He is improving like every single time I see him. The past few months in WCW. And him and Austin had a great match. They had great chemistry. Austin showing a lot of fire. I think, one of the reasons Austin got pissed, you know what Austin pitched to Eric, right?
No,
he wanted to be Hulk Hogan's younger brother. Like, Hulk Hogan reveals that he has a younger brother, and then he's like, and then I can turn on him. We can do a feud. And Eric said no. But I think Austin's trying to prove to the guys, consider me for a top spot, because he knew Hogan was coming in, and he's like, I want to work with Hogan. I want to feud with Hogan, right?
Yeah, and I think Austin, if you're in this business, you gotta want to be the top guy 100%, right? And I think Austin had the right mind. I don't know how good that storyline was.
As dumb as...
Yeah, you were saying?
Yeah, it's pretty dumb, but we don't, at the time... Oh, I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit. It's pretty dumb, but I give him credit for being like, I want to be in the top Hulk Hogan storyline. I got a great idea. I'm his brother. I'm his little brother. And then I turn on him and he beats me. Because, like, the story's still going to end with Hogan, like, dropping the leg on you. Like, no, he's not saying I'm going to beat Hogan. Like, but I give him credit, because I'm sure a lot of other people are afraid to, like, go for it. He fucking just went for it. He was like, one way or the other, he's trying to get in a top spot. He hasn't come up with Stone Cold yet, and we don't know Stone Cold's coming. He doesn't know Stone Cold's coming. But he is working really hard. Both guys are, I think.
I agree. I think it takes a lot of balls to just like really pitch to be in the top spot. But I believe already at this point, he should have been already being in position in a top spot. He's at this point in 1994, Austin is just having like, he's very different than the Stone Cold that we saw, because when we were seeing Stone Cold at its peak, he's already been really injured, and his wrestling has become limited. Here,
Also,
he's like a bumping machine. He's very good.
I think he comes up with Stone Cold because he's very frustrated by what happens in this era. I think he thought he could be I think in his mind, he thought he could be the next Ric Flair. He could be the next Ricky Steamboat. He could be the next Bret Hart, and or even Paul Orndorff in the 80s. I think that's what's going through his mind. And when they point blank just tell you, we don't see you like that at all. We see you as nothing. And you're like the best. I think a lot of the Stone Cold character came from his anger that, like, I can't believe you didn't see in me what I saw in me,
Yeah. Yeah. But little did he know he's going to start past a lot of those guys.
By the way, the moment, there's doing this What Killed WCW going on, the moment where WCW dies and they don't know it is coming up. And I want to see if you can, it's in a pay-per-view this year. And I want to see if you can detect when it happens.
Okay.
It happens in 94. If I was on that show, I'd be like, this is the moment it died. Nobody knew it died then, and it would take 5 years, but they fucked themselves with this moment. And the other thing I thought was funny, I was thinking, 4 years later, Austin gets the itinerary for house shows when he's the champ, and they have him doing a couple of matches with Mark Marrow, and he calls up Jim Ross like, you better change that shit. I'm not wrestling Mark Marrow on the house shows.
That's too bad, because they have good chemistry here. And to Mark Merrill's credit, he's not bad in this match. We can't say it's all Austin. He does. No, he has
I already said it's getting better.
He has a great sunset flip, diving sunset flip cover. He does it really well. So I mean, and like I said, this is actually the longest match on this pay-per-view. It's 16 minutes long. The next match closest is like 14 minutes. This is the longest one. So I
thought this was a great match, Scott Howard.
Yeah. So Mean Gene, he is with Wahoo and Bernie Ladd, and they bring up Gene brings up one of Bobby Heenan's Indian jokes during the previous match about how Bobby Heenan was talking about how, hey, Wahoo McDaniel, he brought some of his Indian blankets to sell. And Mean Gene, I'm like, why did you bring this up, Mean Gene, you fucking asshole? And then Wahoo goes, you know what? Those are good Indian blankets. And I give Wahoo credit for rolling with the punches. And
Yeah.
then they do throw to Dusty Rhodes, who is in Hollywood. And Dusty Rhodes is in a Hollywood backdrop, and he gives a very cartoony promo from Hollywood. Filled with facial expressions and everything. Very cartoony. It was really funny.
I know, but I forgot he was doing stunt work or something on he was doing something in some movie, and he thought like this was gonna be his ticket, like his ticket out of wrestling. I forget what movie he was, but he was doing something in Hollywood.
Was it that there was a movie where it is a wrestling match that he's in?
I don't know. I think it was a non-wrestling movie. He was doing something.
There was a movie where he's featured wrestling.
Let me see, baby. Let's look this up because I want to know what he was doing. Because he did kind of do something, and he really thought like they all think. I mean, eventually they were right. I mean, eventually Batista was right. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like they're not all wrong. But what did he do, Daddy?
Yeah, he did something. I remember. Was he in oh Paradise Park? No, that's not it. It's not Burke's Law because they do mention that, but I don't think it was that.
That's it. I think that's it. That was a show on CBS.
Yeah, but
he's so pumpkin. He probably thought Burke's Law is going to get him like. He's the type of guy that if you were like, do you want to like, I don't know, do you want to like be in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 8? Baby, my ship has come in, baby. I'm gonna be a star, baby. I'm gonna be a Robert Redford.
I'm gonna co-star with Tom Cruise too.
Baby, get Tom. Hello, Tom Cruise. When are you gonna make Top Gun 3, Daddy? I'm gonna be in it with you, Daddy. Like I was just in Burke's Law, baby. I stole the sea. Yeah, it was Burke's Law. It was that small time that he thought like I made it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Speaking of legends, we're gonna go to our second match, which is a legends match. We got Tully Blanchard, newly inducted legend, versus Terry Funk, and we see a Funker Rules Philly ECW style sign in the audience. So yeah, we're right in ECW back territory right here.
Mm-hmm.
Solely joins commentary for this Legends match, so that's kind of fun. Terry Funk, he right off the back, he goes into the ECW crowd and he just starts celebrating with them. And Terry and Tully and Funk just start fighting right on the floor. Funk throws crutches into the ring as they continue just punching each other on the floor and ringside. Terry Funk rips up part of the step, the steps up the ramp, and he just slams Tully into it. And he also tries to pile drive Blanchard through like part of the steps, but it was more like it's like a piece of wood, and he sets it up in the ring against the ropes, and he tries to pile drive Tully Blanchard through it, but it looks more like Terry Funk just sits on it. But it still looks pretty. This is 1994. It's still kind of crazy.
This is 20 million has better than the Legends match from last year.
Yeah. This is like a Legends match you would see now for like a ECW Legends match. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So Funk DDTs Blanchard on the ramp, which hurts both of them. And the referee is Nick Patrick, and he's yelling at hey, get back in the ring. Gordon Soley informs us, hey, Nick Patrick used to be a wrestler himself until he blew out his knee. So I did not know about that, about Nick Patrick. Nick Patrick, by the way, he is the son of Jody Hamilton. Do you know who Jody Hamilton is?
Yeah, the assassin, yeah.
Yes, he's the fat assassin who manages Paul Orndorff. We get a "We Want Blood" chance as Funk misses a moonsault, and then Blanchard starts firing back with really hard shots. He's just stiff shots Terry Funk swings Tully into the referee for a bump, and then Funk gets a chair, and he tries to pile drive Tully Blanchard from the top I guess, on top of it into the chair, but he ends up just sitting on the chair, which does get some boos because it looked terrible. But anyway, the referee, he does wake up and he gets rid of the chair, and then Blanchard hits the referee out of anger, just like fucking hits the referee. Funk gets his iron, his branding iron, and he starts using it on Tully Blanchard, and the referee calls a DQ. He just goes, he hit me, it's a disqualification. We start getting a BS chant from the audience, and then Funk goes into the crowd and gets the hat guy's hat, puts it on, takes it off, throws it to the ground, and then he elbow drops that straw hat. And he starts headbutting the straw hat on the fucking ground. It just scares the hell out of Bobby Heenan because he doesn't understand what's going on. This was a crazy, wild Legends match. I actually liked it. I thought it was pretty good.
I thought it was great. What I also enjoyed about the match is that Terry Funk is completely out of control, and it almost looks like he's going off script. But what he does is he does two very interesting things. He sets up the fact that he's not done. He's going to do something. He's going to do something later, right? He was supposed to just be here to get his little fucking plaque, and he's like off the reservation, right? But he also makes a point, and I think he knew what he was doing with this, to put the spotlight on the ECW crowd and to kind of let you know my heart's with ECW, and ECW is not something that you should ignore. And I kind of feel there was someone in the production. The whole time I'm watching the show, I'm like, there's someone working the production that likes ECW a lot, because they're not, the announcers aren't mentioning it, but the camera work and everything is like very clearly, they want you to know there's something like called ECW out there. They're not running from it.
Do you think they're already trying to think like, we want to work with these guys? Like, we want to.
Sorry, I thought
like, you know what I mean? Like, they want to, like, hey, maybe we could work with these guys in the future.
They do a talent exchange for a little bit in '94, but it goes to hell because Cactus Jack spits in the WCW title. It says it means nothing to him compared to the ECW title, and Bischoff gets livid at that, and they kind of cut off.
I think it's rightfully so to get mad about that. Yeah, I would get mad too. All right, Jesse Ventura, who has been relegated to backstage announcer, backstage interviewer role. He is with Ric Flair, who calls out Colonel Parker. And he goes, and they recap their feud, their issues. And he says, I'm ready for anyone, Parker. And he goes, anybody you want challenging me, including that masked guy you sent out attack me, which is going to be happening later on. Let's go to match number 3. It is a non-televised match. Non-title.
It was non-televised. We're going to see it.
Yeah.
Non-televised match on TV.
In a way, this is kind of like a semi-Legends match because we got Larry Zbyszko versus William Regal, Sir Steven Regal with Sir William. And we see a WCW rules WWF stink sign from the crowd. And we got a close up.
I would agree with them at this point in history. Yes, that's true.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we got a close up of Vlad, superfan Vlad. He's all over the show. And we get a long start of nothing happening in the beginning of this match. Just them circling.
It's a Larry Zbyszko special.
What?
Larry Zbyszko was the king of the stall.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It starts really agitating the crowd, and I totally get why he's doing it. He's doing that because he's getting the crowd really antsy, you know? Yeah. They're not booing. They're just getting really agitated. Like, come on, man, come on. Like, that was brilliant. That was like, that's some good psychology. They're just circling around and just getting the crowd like kind of up into a frenzy, like where they want to see some action. And that's right when they're like at that point of like boiling over to start booing. Before they boo, they start going at it. And I thought that was brilliant. That is some good fucking wrestling. Larry locks up and then he just like fucking mule kicks Regal right in the gut, which gets big cheers because that was a beautiful looking move. We get another shot of Sherry sitting at ringside with her best friend, Kathy Fitzpatrick, who is featured a lot, very heavily in Sherry's Dark Side of the Ring. That's why I know she's our best friend. Yeah. She wasn't in the business. She was our best friend. What?
Nice continuity.
Yeah. Larry gets a sleeper on Regal, but who Regal does a jawbreaker to get out of it, and then Zbyszko has to lean on the ropes. And as he's leaning on the ropes, he gets a hard umbrella shot from Sir William, and then Regal gets Larry in a butterfly suplex position. But then Larry, he backdrops Regal over himself, and then they land, and he covers him for the surprise victory. Uh, we see a all hail Lord Larry sign as we're, Philadelphia. Larry Zbyszko's, I believe he's from Pittsburgh, right? So
Yeah.
this is kind of like Larry Zbyszko's hometown, but he got a great reaction for his surprise victory. I actually like this match. I thought it was pretty good. What did you think?
I liked it. I'm not a big fan of Larry Zbyszko as a face. I kind of feel like he's just naturally an unlikable fucking sack of failure. But I thought it was good. I mean, listen, it is kind of weird that William Regal hasn't lost in months, and then I don't know what's happening on TV because we're not watching a TV show. But on pay-per-view, he hasn't let any loses to fucking Larry. But it's a non-title match, and maybe they played it off later on the TV show. I don't know. But yeah, it was fine. It was fine. Listen, I think a lot of the work has to go to Steve Reed, you know?
Yeah, but Larry Zbyszko, he's not bad himself. I thought he played his role well. I get what you're saying. Larry Zbyszko, like he was like always like an old man wrestling, but at the same time, I can't say like he didn't like I didn't think he was bad. Even on commentary when WCW, like I never thought
That
he
was
was
the thing
terrible.
his best at was commentary. You know what? When I realized like I don't like Larry Zbyszko was he was feuding with Louis Spicolli when he died, right?
Wait, what?
And he was when Louis Spicolli died, he was in a feud with Larry Zbyszko on
Oh,
the.
okay.
And so they kind of do an all like Tony Schiavone goes, we just want to give out our condolences to Louis Spicoli's family. And Larry Zbyszko goes like, normally I would say rest in peace, but I have no love for him. It's a shame he's gone. I would have got my revenge. And I'm just like, all right, asshole. Like, can you just be like, I was really can you like you can kind of stay in character and still like I really wanted to wrestle him. He had a bright future, like just say something like, I was looking forward to our match. What a tragedy. I never wanted to go like this. Like, we'll all miss him. Like, you don't need to be, oh, I'm sorry, I don't forgive him. Why? Why? Because he was with the NWO? You fucking idiot. Like, I didn't like that. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, just like be a little, like, no one's going to think that wrestling, oh my gosh, wrestling fake now because Larry Zbyszko said rest in peace. Or he could have just said nothing. He could have just said nothing. Or don't Larry Zbyszko sitting next to you when you say "Rest in peace, Louis Spicolli." When I
Brother, kayfabe.
when I heard that, I just didn't like him. I just thought, "Fuck you, get out of here." But he
But
said
still
like,
real to him, damn it. Mean Gene, by the way, Larry Zbyszko, he is from Pittsburgh. I was correct.
no, he is.
Mean Gene,
That's the basis of the feud with Bruno Sammartino.
yeah, that's right. That is, yeah. I lost my train of thought. Okay, actually, Mean Gene, we're in the back with Mean Gene, and he actually not in the back. We're at the interview stage with Mean Gene, and he says, "Hey, I got an interview with Hulk Hogan on Saturday. Okay, guys, keep in mind on Saturday, their Saturday night show, he's got an interview with Hulk Hogan."
Nobody cares.
And then exactly nobody cares, but then he invites Funk, and then asks him, "Hey, why did you no show the introduction when we were going over the intros in the beginning for the Legends?" And Funk's like, "Oh yeah, Luthez, Nick Bockwinkel, Larry Hennig, yeah, they're all legends. They're all legends. But I didn't come out because I'm not a legend. I am the legend. All right, especially here in Philadelphia, I am the legend. I'm a hardcore wrestler." And we're alive. And he's like, "You don't know what I'm gonna say? We're live." And he starts shitting on Dusty Rhodes, talking about how he doesn't like Dusty Rhodes, and he starts making fun of him. And then he says, "Guess what? I'm not leaving tonight. It's live TV. You don't know what I'm gonna do." And that's how we end that segment.
I really like what he's doing on this show because it's like, imagine if someone who was like brought in for the Hall of Fame decided, you know what? I'm not done yet. Fuck it. I don't want Cody to win the belt. I don't want Cody to win the belt. Like, well, you know what I mean? Like, imagine, it's kind of fun. It's like really cool, Like, what if Bull Nakano was like, I don't want Bailey to win the belt. I still have another match in me. Fuck this.
Yeah, because you're in a way you're like rocking the boat in the sense of
Yeah,
like he's going like it makes the audience think is this guy going off script or whatever, right? So yeah, it's kind of fun in that sense.
yeah.
All right, so then Gordon Soley, he's in the ring for this is where the show kind of comes to a weird point.
Oh god.
Gordon Soley, he's in the ring for the WCW Hall of Fame ceremony that they're doing. He's there with Luthez, and they induct the following people. Of course, none of these people are going to really give a speech, but they come out and they
Thank
get an
God.
award and so forth. Harley Race, the
Mm-hmm.
Crusher,
Mm-hmm.
they tell us, Gordon Soley tells us Crusher, who made Milwaukee famous. I believe that's probably true. Ernie Ladd and the Assassin. Now, keep in mind, the Assassin, at this point, we're just seeing him as like a big fat manager, but really what Jody Hamilton is really important for in wrestling is he ran the WCW power plant,
No,
right?
no, I know that and also they called the gorilla position. I don't know if they changed it. He ran the gorilla position. They used to call the Jody position actually.
Mm. Oh, I
He
did
was
not know
the
that.
picture Triple H of WCW, which is why the place was run so well. You had this big fat slob.
Yeah. He also ran Deep South Wrestling. That used to
That's
be
true. He's
yeah,
he's
he
one
did
of
a lot.
those good old boys that ran it. There's always somebody who runs things from the shadows in every industry, and he's one of them.
Yeah. By the way, in 2009, Jody Hamilton would sue WWE over the Deep South contract because he felt uh they terminated the contract prematurely or whatever, and he did win the settlement. He actually won. So he wanted a settlement off that, but then he passes away at
And
2021, just a couple of
you'll
years
never
ago.
see Nick Patrick in WWF ever again. I guarantee you.
Yeah. But anyway, he passed away a couple of years ago. They're also getting inducted. Ole Anderson getting inducted,
Oh boy.
and Dick the Bruiser, who passed away. So his daughter Michelle, and a giant Kevin Sullivan looking guy who comes with her. They get the award in his honor. So that's the Hall of Fame portion of the show. We moving back along backstage. We got Jesse Ventura. He is where Colonel Parker, who says, "Yeah, I'm gonna turn up the heat" with the bull rope match, and he
Oh boy.
says he is a man who will face Ric Flair, and the guy is huge. He's over 300 pounds, but I'm not gonna reveal him. And he's like constantly waving his handkerchief because he's sweaty. You know what? I know you don't like this, Ray. I know you don't like this, but let me say something. I really enjoy like the sweaty southerner stereotype. I think it's so he's clearly a stereotype. It's so funny. Ooh, I got the vapors.
I got the vapors. It just my problem with him is that like I never noticed this as a kid. Is that once he like gets on the apron or he gets next to the wrestlers, it would be like if he made Undertaker like a cowardly manager now. He's like, "Oh, I do declare, I'm Mark Calloway," and then he's like standing, like he's towering over Angel Garza and cowering. "Oh, Angel Garza, don't hit me! Oh my god!" Like, dude, like I don't know.
He was a big dude. He was a huge
Yeah,
dude.
he's just too big to be like this. It just takes me out of it, man. I don't know.
Oh,
Imagine,
you know what? Like,
Undertaker. Can you
I'm one
imagine
of those
Undertaker shows
people.
up?
I love stereotypes in wrestling. They're just so funny.
But can you imagine Undertaker just started showing up in this white suit, like as this cowardly manager? They don't even pretend he was the Undertaker. Like how confused everybody would be. Oh my God, my Otis, don't hit me, please, Otis. I do declare I'm Mark Calloway of the Calloway Institute.
Yeah, dude, it's funny. I don't care what anyone says. It's fucking hilarious, dude. I love it.
All right, well, you got like 3 more years of this guy, so have fun.
Dude, I was always a fan of Colonel Parker. I always thought he was so over the top. Tony Schiavone, he informs us Dusty Rhodes was in Burke's Law. He does tell us, hey, he's in a couple episodes of Burke's Law, and he's still in Hollywood filming more. So that's what he's 100% doing. We go to match number 4. Speaking of Dusty, it's his son in this bull rope match. It is Dustin Rhodes versus Bunkhouse Buck, Ray Goose's favorite smelly wrestler.
The stench of failure. We just sort of okay. This is my 4 horsemen of failure: Tommy Dreamer, Bunkhouse Buck, Sammy Callahan, and we need someone else from the fucking And
Joey
Jeff
Janela?
Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett. The four horsemen of failure.
Jeff Jarrett is not a failure, dude.
Oh, he has the stench of failure.
Dude, he's still in the biz.
Yeah, because he conned Tony Khan. The moment he started showing up on AEW TV, that's when their ratings never recovered. Because if you're someone who like hasn't watched since the Attitude Era, the early TNA days, and someone goes, "You gotta watch AEW, it's so good, it's the future," and you put it on, Jeff Jarrett walks out with that stupid guitar, "Ain't I great? Don't piss me off, slap nuts." You're like, I stopped watching 20 years ago because this fucking idiot he just stunk up the TV. You told me this was like brand new wrestling. You told me this was like Will Ospreay. This fucking guy's walking around with his guitar. Get the fuck out of here. That's when the ratings never recovered. The moment they put him on TV every week. I'm telling you, people were like, I gave up wrestling when this guy was on. Why is this guy still here? Like, why? Nobody tuned into TNA. Dude, I stopped buying the TNA pay-per-views because he was all over the place. I was buying, and when we get to this, the weekly ones, I was buying them for AJ Styles, Low Key, Christopher Daniels, The Amazing Red, and then like sooner I was like 45 minutes of this fucking guy was, "Ain't I great? No piss me off," fighting fucking Disco Inferno. AJ Styles had like a 2-minute match. I was like, why am I still watching this company? And so 20 years ago, it wasn't acceptable. I'm supposed to accept it now when this guy is older. I'm supposed to watch this guy fight Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy should annihilate Jeff Jarrett in 20 seconds. Didn't they? So the four horsemen of failure: Bunkhouse Buck, Tommy Dreamer, Sami Callihan, and Jeff Jarrett. That's the team.
Well, that's fair enough. Anyway, Bunkhouse Buck, he is here with Colonel Parker, and they start fighting before the bell even rings. There's in a feud, guys. Dustin Rhodes and Bunkhouse. Dustin, this time it's with a bull rope. Dustin hangs Buck with the rope, and then he pulls him back into the ring. Dustin is in control, and he does all the fucking bull rope spots. We're talking like you crotch the guy with the rope, you choke the guy with the bull rope, you drag him around the ring with the bull rope, all the fucking classics. We get a "We Want Blood" chant again from the ECW crowd. I hate the ECW crowd, by the way. I fucking hate them. I think they're part of the reasons why wrestling is the way it is now.
Well, I mean, it really feels like a crowd of. It does not feel, and I'm telling you, there's a lot of points where the wrestlers get a little rattled by this crowd because crowds like this didn't exist back then. We have not seen a crowd like this in any of the pay-per-views we've watched. They've all kind of played along. The thing about crowds before you get to this crowd is they may not like the show and they may every now and then like give a little boring chant, but they more or less play along with what the booker wants you to play along with. You know what I mean? And this is the first crowd that's like, fuck that. This is what we want. Fuck this. And there's a couple of points, even though all the wrestlers deliver, where I can tell the wrestlers, like, what the fuck is happening? Who are these people? Because I think also, the internet was already there. You could use it in certain places. It really explodes in 95, right? A year from now. Do you remember all of a sudden in video game did you buy video game magazines in 95 or no? Did you buy Wizard in 95?
A little bit, yeah.
Suddenly, in magazines in the summer of 95, advertisements had web addresses at the bottom. And that I never saw that before. So I think there were people, and they were called Usenet groups. There were like the Dave Bixbans and the fucking Josh Albas, no offense. They were sitting on the fucking Usenets talking like, oh, this sucks, that sucks. And I think a lot of them got together at this show. And they were like, we're going to tell you that this is bullshit. We want a real show.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I find it annoying too, but like, it is interesting to see like suddenly the crowd is like smart. This crowd's like, we're not going to play along with this shit anymore.
No, like what I mean by it is like, I think it's fun. The crowd is fun, but I think part of the reason why we get the smart marks is because of these guys who tries to get them.
It started here. It started
with these guys. That's what I mean.
Because the last fan had a great point. It's like you could the problem with ECW is you couldn't work a traditional babyface heel match because the crowd thought, well, we're smarter than that. But it's like, no, part of the thing is you go along. Like Shane Douglas and Pitbull number 2, they're doing a match where Pitbull number 2 has to fight from underneath, and the crowd's just sitting there. and they're waiting for Pitbull number 2 to fucking smack Francine or something. It's like, you couldn't, because they're like, it's almost to the show's detriment that they're like, no, we're too smart for this. Like, no, you're not. Play along a little bit. He's eventually gonna fucking light Francine on fire, but can you just play along for a little bit? And they would like sit on there. I thought that was a great point. That's the problem with ECW, like, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So going back to this match, Buck, he kind of hockey shirts Dustin, like pulling it over his head, and then he starts whipping Dustin's bareback with not just the bull rope, but his own belt. He takes off his belt again, starts whipping Dustin with it. Then he ties Dustin up to the post with the bull rope, as Parker says, he's in there with the big dog now. Oh. Like, what rope? I love it. He's such a character. However, Dustin low blows Bunkhouse, and he's able to free himself, and they get back in the ring. Nick Patrick, he's the referee. He goes down on a ref bump, and then Parker gets in the ring to distract Dustin, but Dustin fights off both the double team, and then he hits Buck with the bell to win. As soon as this match is over, Terry Funk, he runs in and he attacks Dustin with the iron, that branding iron that he has, and he busts Dustin open. So Dustin is bleeding all over the place. Bunkhouse and Terry Funk, they try to do like this assisted pile driver that like the Young Bucks do. But they fucking fail. They try to do it 2 times and they fail. So finally, Terry Funk's like, "Get out of my way, Bunkhouse!" And then they just start, with Colonel Parker, they start triple teaming Dustin until the officials come and they force them out. And Terry Funk leaves to a Terry Funk chant. What did you think about this match? Match number 4, bull rope match.
I love Terry Funk who defeats at the end. I love Dustin Rhodes. I really do feel like it's a waste of Dustin Rhodes' talents to be in there with Bunkhouse Buck. I really wish they put anyone else in this role. I would have went back in time and hired Sandman to be in the Bunkhouse Buck character or someone. It's just this guy is just not it. But the match is great. The match is great, but I think it's great because of Dustin. I don't think it's great because of Bunkhouse Buck. And Terry Funk puts it over the top. I love the whole thing. I mean, it all in all was pretty great. Man, I just wish, man, they really had something in Dustin and Steve Austin, man. I don't think they realized what they had. I know they don't.
100% they did not realize what they had. 100% they didn't. You're right. Very right about that. I agree. It was good. Let's move right along. Mean Gene, he is with Red Bastien and Ray the Crippler Stevens. And they're both saying, like, Mean Gene asked them about the matches they've seen so far. And we've seen some crazy matches so far, right? And they're both like, yo, I'm glad I retired. I'm glad I retired. Red Bastien, by the way, he has like a Salvador Dali mustache that just goes up. Those kinds. And Bobby Heenan leaves the booth to go check out. By the way, after this interview, Bobby Heenan, he goes, I got to go check out the back. I want to talk to Terry Funk. And he leaves the commentary booth. Jesse Ventura will now join Tony Schiavone on commentary for match number 5, the world title.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. The other thing I like about the show is that they change the commentary team a lot. It makes it feel like a very busy company.
Yes. They should do that now. They should do that now.
Yeah. I like that. I like that, like, sometimes it's Gordon Soley and Bobby Heenan. Sometimes it's Jesse and Tony. So it just feels like there's a lot going on. And, like, we're going to bring this guy in because he's a specialist for this. We're going to bring this guy in because he's I like that. I also like that. It made the show feel busy. It made the show feel important, and it made the company look like they had a lot going on.
I think you should do that instead of a 3-man booth.
I agree.
You could have rotating commentators come in and out for you could do a kayfabe reason why, Terry, Bobby Heenan go like, I want to go check in the back, I want to talk to Terry Funk, and then you bring in somebody else. But I like the 2-man booth better than the 3-man booth. It just makes it less. But yeah, I agree with you. I did like that as well, man. The world title open challenge match is match number 5. That's why this is the world title. It's match number 5. It is not closing out the show. We got Ric Flair, the champion, comes out, and then Colonel Parker, he's all over this show. He comes out and he introduces the mystery opponent. It's Barry Windham. It's Ric Flair versus Barry Windham, and they mentioned there's a lot of Hulk Hogan fans, signs outside and stuff. I mean,
so they weren't allowed inside because there's nothing inside.
Yeah.
Like, you can't come inside, you Hulk Hogan fan.
By the way, Barry Windham is huge. He has a noticeable size advantage over Ric Flair, and because of his size advantage, he can shrug off all the chops and attacks that Flair is giving to him, and he controls most of this match. Flair fights back and is able to get the figure four on, but Colonel Parker pushes the ring ropes towards Barry, and Barry is able to grab it and break the hold. They keep fighting, and they both go over the top to the floor. Um, when they do that, Ric Flair running the ropes over the top rope spot, and then Flair takes a Flair flop, the only one in this match, but he does it on the floor. It's very ill placed because you can't really see it, only separate people at ringside, so it gets a very little reaction. Unlike the previous pay per view where he put one Flair flop in the right moment, it got a great reaction. This one's not a good reaction. Flair is no longer in charge, and Barry Windham tries to Flair regains control of the match, and he starts beating on Barry, and Barry tries to beg off the heel thing, but Flair just knocks him down. Parker tries to get involved during a few covers, and then Flair basically knocks him off the apron, and then he climbs up to the top rope and hits a very terrible looking crossbody for the win. This is not your typical Ric Flair victory. It's ugly. It's very ugly the way he ended it, but it is a unique Ric Flair victory.
I like the match. What did you think?
I did not think this was the best Terry Funk Barry Windham match. Ric Flair Barry Windham match. I think this was one of
the terrible Terry Funk match. He wasn't even in it.
Yeah, no, but like Ric Flair and Barry Windham, they have a match I think years ago, which is way better than this one. This one, just like I just couldn't get into it, and that ending was.
I liked it. It was they were like they played. Barry Windham was played more as a heavy guy because he went to he went to McDonald's.
Yeah, he put on
but
weight.
I like that. The other thing I like about the finish, and this is what I like, is that the typical spot is Flair goes on the top rope and he gets slammed off the top rope, right?
Yes.
And the fact that it doesn't matter if it's sloppy, the fact that he hit it and won, now he can do that spot again for the next fucking 20 years. And if you saw this match, you'd be like, well, he could win off this. He did beat Barry Windham off this.
True.
And I like that. I like the fact that you change up the spot every now and then so that way, even if you never go back, because I don't think he ever wins again with this, but now if he hits it, if he goes up for it again, there's a doubt in your mind. You think to yourself, he could hit it. So I like that. I like that. I like every now and then you mix it up, and that keeps people on their toes.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
We get a Bash the Beach promo video with Bobby Heenan and Mean Gene. They're at the beach and they're talking about the big one. They go, "Oh, the big one's coming," and they're saying this with a bunch of beach bums and women. And we come back with Mean Gene talking about the women, the promo video. "Oh, I want them back again," like the pervert that he is in WCW. Mean Gene is such a pervert in WCW. It's like, can you stop being a pervert, bro?
He never stopped being a pervert.
Yeah. Anyway, he invites Don Curtis and the Crusher, and Mean Gene tries to ask Don about the rats. He goes, "Hey, about the women," and then he's basically telling him about the ring rats. "Hey, you got a lot of women back then," and Don, he's retired, and he's probably his wife's probably watching. He goes, "That was my tag partner, Mark. Mark got all the women. I didn't do any of that stuff." And Mean Gene laughs, and he goes, he compliments him like, "Hey, way to deflect, brother." Mean Gene is an asshole, dude. He's such an asshole. After the segment, I would have been like, "Bro, what the fuck are you trying to do? You trying to get me in trouble with my wife?" Anyway, Crusher, he talks to Crusher and he says he's happy that Dick the Bruiser also got in the Hall of Fame with him. And he says, "I'm going to be with you tonight. We're going to be drinking tonight, Mean Gene, and we're going to get some dollies." So they're still talking about the ring rats. Mean Gene is a perv. He just loves bringing up the women. He just constantly loves bringing up women.
Yeah, he does. He's got no Vince. I kind of feel like at this point he's like, I can do whatever the fuck I want. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. All right, we got the former Philadelphia Flyer NHL player, Dave Der Hammer Schultz, who's going to be the special guest referee in the next match. They did mention this in the beginning of the show, and let me tell you, I was so disappointed because when they said Dave Schultz was going to be the special guest referee, I thought it was going to be Dr. D Dave Schultz. You know the crazy guy who slaved.
Yeah, but this guy's like a legend over there, so.
Yeah, I know, but I thought it was going to be the guy who slapped John Stossel. You know?
That guy got blackballed for that. Like nobody
Yeah.
fucking again.
Yeah, he retired pretty much. He had to. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think now. I don't even think they would have. It's weird. You can do certain things that like you can cross certain lines that even WC. I had one time I had a friend. He was like an indie wrestler, right? And do you remember the Undertaker Jeff Hardy match with the ladder? Yeah.
Yeah. Where Undertaker raises Jeff's hand afterwards.
Yes, but there's a moment where it's really bad. If you people like the match, but rewatch it because there's a moment where Jeff could clearly get the belt, right? And he's struggling extra hard. I think Undertaker messed up his timing. And I said to my friend, what if Jeff Hardy just ran up and got the belt? Like, what if he just said, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna get the belt"? And my friend said he not only would have been fired by WWE, he never would have worked anywhere ever again. No one would have hired. Like that's a thing. They would have like probably had to play his music. Jim Ross would have had to improvise. The minute he got to the back, they would have taken the belt off him, fired him, not even tried to make it a storyline, and he never worked anywhere ever again. Like that would have been like the ultimate, like, how could you do that? And I was like, oh, cool.
And you think that's the equivalent of what Dave Schultz did?
Yeah, for some reason, yeah, I think I don't. Yeah, it was a line. I think a lot of people like got upset by what he did, and yeah, I don't consider it that big of a deal. I would have hired him, but for a lot of people, it was like, why did you do that? And I don't. I think the thing is, you went too far. We can't trust you. You went too far, and we can't trust you. What if you hurt a regular person?
That's probably what it is because he did get blacklisted after that.
I think it's a thing of trust. Like Vince claims he just said like say something mean to him. Dave Schultz says he said to hit him, but I believe Vince said to hit him, but I don't think he meant to hit him that hard. He hits him really hard, dude, and there's no reason to hit this guy that hard. The guy's on national TV. The guy's like, I knew who John Stossel was before I knew who Hulk Hogan was. My parents used to watch 2020.
Yeah,
like the guy's like a national reporter. Like you can't like hold off and just punch Tom Brokaw. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can't. You can't. Like it was like
you know what? Now that you say it like that, I respect Dave Schultz even more now.
Yeah. So like I'm like, what if he like killed him or something? Then it's like wrestling could have got shut down. Because like you just can't hit this dopey little guy that hard, you know?
Yeah, imagine he could have broke his neck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would have slapped that hard, you could break somebody's neck. Yeah.
And also, you know, Hulk Hogan hurt Richard Belzer. But the thing about it is Hulk Hogan get away with it. You can't.
And Hulk Hogan barely got away with it. He had to pay a huge amount of that fine.
Yeah, Richard Belzer bought like a house in Italy with Hulk Hogan.
Fuck Belzer. I never liked Richard Belzer.
Oh, Belzer sucked. We'll talk about that some other time.
Yeah. Because he instigated that whole fucking thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. John Stossel wasn't saying, I think Richard Belzer said put me in a sleeper, right? And make it hard. John Stossel wasn't violently instigating. He was just asking questions. All you have to do is like maybe like grab his shirt and be like, "You're looking, I'll hit you, boy." But he really did hit him hard, bro. Like I don't think you're not supposed to hit a civilian that hard, especially a famous civilian. You know?
The thought of it makes me laugh. You know what? I respect
I love it though. I would have hired him. Okay.
Anyway, Dave Schultz, not on this show. It is the former Philadelphia Flair.
He's also his promos were really racist. Like they're even racist. Like, have you rewatched some of his promos?
And sexist, yeah. Talking about
I think even back then, they're trying to get like kids to watch. He was crossing lines that like, you're trying to get in toy stores, you can't cross even back then. So it's probably like for the better. Just get him the fuck out of here.
By the way, so yeah, if you're this, you might think this Flyer Dave Schultz is not as badass as Dr. D Dave Schultz, but they do show you a clip of this guy beating on somebody during a hockey game. So this guy's pretty tough himself.
So you want to hear a cool story about this match? And when I knew it before going in, and when you see it, you're like, oh shit. In the back, the Jerry Sags or whatever. Yeah, Jerry Sags said to the guy, "Listen, when you hit me as hard as you can." And the guy goes, "Listen, I hit you as hard as I can. I could hurt you. Like I can't. Like I can't hit you as hard as I can." He goes, "If you don't hit me as hard as you can, it's not going to look good. Hit me as hard as you can." And he went, "No." And then Cactus Jack on it. He goes, "You can hit this guy as hard as you can. We believe me. You don't know what you're doing to pull back your punch. You're not going to know what you're doing. You have to hit him as hard as you can." So if you watch it, he actually does really hit Jerry Sags pretty hard.
He does hit him. Yeah, he definitely does. This guy's no joke. Dave Schultz, he's no joke. He comes out with his jersey and he comes out with the hockey stick, and it is ready for the 6th match, the Broad Street Bully Tag Title match. That's right. Tag titles are on the line in basically a hardcore match. It's not going to be Cactus Jack and Max Payne. It is Cactus Jack and Kevin Sullivan versus the tag champions, the Nasty Boys. They fight right away. They just start fighting on the outside. We get chair shots, multiple chair shots. They're fighting in the crowd. Jerry Sags hits Cactus Jack with the fire extinguisher. Not some pussy shot. He just fucking like drops it on him. Kevin Sullivan pow drives Brian Knobbs on the ramp. Cactus, he returns with a trash can, and he just fucking beats people with it, and then he lays the trash can down on the floor by ringside, and he puts Brian Knobbs on top of the trash can on the floor. Then he goes up to the second turnbuckle, and he does an elbow drop. Knobbs moves out of the way, so fucking Cactus Jack just smashes that trash can. It's now flattened. It looked, I mean, he fucking just, that's concrete.
This match was, I'll just say this before you, this match was phenomenal. I thought this was one of the best hardcore tag matches I've ever seen.
I really enjoy this, like, feud between Cactus Jack and his partners and the Nasty Boys. I love it.
Oh, dude. I'm going to say this, the Nasty Boys, besides Triple H and Undertaker, the Nasty Boys are Mick Foley's greatest opponents, and I would have brought them in '98 to feud with Kane and Cactus Jack because he has chemistry with these two guys. He turns these two guys into fucking superstars. Like, I am blown away how much I like the Nasty Boys after these 3 matches. Cactus, he just brings something out of them, man. They could have been like dude, I would have brought them in '98 because he's got a magic with them that I've never seen with anyone else with these Nasty Boys.
I would say, if anything, this is how the Nasty Boys should have been booked in WWF when they first came. They should have been this like hardcore, like no nonsense kind of tag team.
You know the thing about this match, bro, is that like I'll watch these Anarchy in the Arena matches and they light Jungle Bunny on fire, and Eddie Kingston walks out with gasoline, and fucking they're hitting. And this looked 20 times more real, felt 20 times more chaotic, felt and you know, you want to talk about the Nasty Boys, they're goofy and they're a gimmick. They felt so much more real than anything Eddie Kingston or Jungle Boy has ever done, or John Moxley with the sticks in his fucking head. Like this just feels real, man. This feels like
I think it's because it is real.
I know, I love it, dude. This is what these Anarchy Arena match. This is what it needs to be. I don't need this fucking theatrics. Don't light anyone on fire. That's so. Just do shit like this. Get a tag team like the fucking Nasty Boys and go to work. Nobody wants to. This is the problem in wrestling. Nobody wants to be the Nasty Boys anymore. And if two fucking guys came as the Nasty Boys and were booked like this, they'd be the top fucking guys in AEW in 2 fucking minutes. But nobody wants to be the Nasty Boys. Everybody wants to be Will Ospreay and fucking CM Punk. And Tony Khan doesn't have the balls to push 2 guys like this.
Yeah, he needs to be like, I don't need another Will Ospreay. I got the Young Bucks for that already. I need like 2 killers. Like that's what I would say. Like, I need 2 fucking killers. Yeah. Anyways, so this trash can was now flattened because Cactus Jack basically just fucking splashed it. Anyway, but it gets used by everybody. Everyone takes a turn using this flattened trash can to hit everybody, and everyone's using it as a weapon. Let me tell you, this trash can took more bumps than anybody else in this fucking match. Right?
I love it.
I love it. Yeah,
I love that the announcers are just like in legit shock and awe. but like they are putting the match up. They sound genuinely thrilled with the match.
By the way, the commentators in this match is Tony Schiavone and Jesse Ventura, and Jesse Ventura loves this fucking match.
Yeah.
Like this is like you can tell. Like Jesse Ventura was like a man's man, right? He fucking joined the army. You know, he was the Navy SEAL, and he's just like from Minnesota. He used to be like a bouncer at a club. This is the kind of shit that he loves. You could tell because he's just like, oh, I never seen anything like this. Oh, he's going like crazy. Dude, they're not even really wrestling in the ring. So finally, like Cactus Jack clotheslines Brian Knobbs over the top rope, and they both finally get into the ring. And the fans start cheering because this is like the first time.
Well, you know what?
People are in the ring.
The one problem is they didn't have TVs. So like you could do this match now, like at a peak because there's TVs everywhere. But like back then, there's probably some areas where you don't know what's happening.
Yeah. But it's funny how when they finally get in the ring, people start cheering. Cactus Jack, by the way, he's already bleeding at this point. But what do you call it? Kevin Sullivan joins them in the ring, and then Sags tries to bring a table, like one of those heavy wooden tables, but he's exhausted, so he just kind of puts it like on the floor right by the ramp. And then Sags basically Cactus meets Jerry Sags back on the ramp, and Sags just basically he throws Cactus Jack off the ramp, and he just goes right into the table. He crashes the table. And then he beats Cactus with a light stand. But then Cactus does, and then Cactus, but he does that thing where he suplexes the table onto Jerry Sags again. It's a callback from the last match they had. Sags beats Cactus Jack with a fucking trash can lid, and Tony Schiavone goes, he looks just like Captain America. I was like, yes.
Oh yeah, Tony Schiavone he likes comic books before.
Yeah. But that's exactly what it looked like. It looked like Captain America beating somebody up with a fucking shield. Sags drags Cactus Jack by the hair, and Jerry, Cactus Jack is just like, he's beat. He's like tripping over himself, and Jerry Sags really has to just drag him by the hair, throw him back to the ring, hits his elbow drop, and then he gets the hockey stick, Dave Schultz's hockey stick. Schultz rips the stick away from him because that's fucking disrespect, right? It's his man's hockey stick. And they start getting into a little argument. And then Dave Schultz starts fucking assaulting Jerry Sags, just nailing him, punching him, real hard pinches. The crowd is cheering. They're in a frenzy. Cactus Jack, meanwhile, he has gotten up and he has the hockey stick. Sags turns around and Cactus, wham, hits him on the head with the hockey stick to a fast count by Dave Schultz. And Cactus Jack and Kevin Sullivan, they win the tag titles. The fans going crazy. Schultz keeps attacking Sags, and Sags starts attacking Cactus Jack again, and he takes the fucking hockey stick, and he starts fucking hitting Cactus Jack with it. When out comes Max Payne, he's coming out with a guitar, and then he smashes that guitar really hard on Jerry Sags' head, which gets an even louder pop. And now you got Max Payne, you got Kevin Sullivan, you got Cactus Jack, and Dave Schultz. All four guys are surrounding Brian Knobbs. They chase Brian Knobbs up the ramp. But coming out from the entranceway is fucking the Equalizer.
Dave Sullivan. Now they released Dave
Sullivan, yeah. He's coming out with crutches, and then he's
over. He was never over.
Yeah, he was over here, brother, right? Yeah, he smashes Brian Knobbs with a crutch on the ramp, and all five faces, they fucking raise their hands together to a fucking crowd, and they take a bow on the ramp. The crowd is going crazy. This was a great way to end this match with all the faces standing tall. And after this match, that was a really hard guitar shot because Jerry Sags is still out. Like, he's out of it in the ring. And this was a fantastic match. You need to watch these fucking Nasty Boys Cactus Jack series. This is so fucking good. They're so good. Oh, you gotta watch all three of these matches. You gotta watch all three.
Fucking just phenomenal, man. And this is like what hardcore wrestling and brawling needs to be.
Yeah.
This is like, and the way it just goes to show, man, like fucking Dave Sullivan, big loser. No, but you put him in a good fucking storyline. You put Dude, a year ago. I mean, like a few weeks ago when we were covering 93, I thought fucking Max Payne looked like shit. You put these guys in a good storyline, and they're over. They're over. Fucking Dave Sullivan's getting a bigger pop than half the roster because you put him in a storyline and a match that people are invested in. And that's what you can, you can do that with anybody if you want to do it, you know?
You can do that in wrestling. You can literally do that with anybody if you just book them right, 100%.
Yeah. And I thought this was a great match. And I'm watching this and I'm like, man, like, it just, you know what it, I just don't think guys like Eddie Kingston or John Moxley get it. Because everything they do just seems so fake and forced. And this feels so fucking real. And think about it, is people would tell you Nasty Boys are goofs and da-da-da. To me, Eddie Kingston's a bigger goof than the Nasty Boys. He really is.
I agree. I'm 100% with you on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I love it. Go out of your way to see this match. Phenomenal match. I've kind of before we started this podcast, man, I had blown off the Nasty Boys. I consider them the tag team of the Stenches of Failure. And re-watching all these matches, these guys are better than any. You know what it is? They're so good, you don't realize how good they are. Like they're just almost, I don't know, man. Like but they're good in a way. You know what the thing about it is that with AEW, everyone's trying to steal, or even WWE nowadays, they're all just trying to steal the show. These guys know, like, hey man, we're the appetizer before the main course, but they do everything right. Like even that Sting match. Why'd you tag him? Remember that he got mad at Sting at Battle Bowl? Why'd you shake that guy's hand? Don't do that. You know what I mean? Like they just do all these little things that make the match better. And they're things that like you don't notice. But I guarantee you, if they did Battle Bowl in AEW, fucking the Butcher wouldn't say that shit to FTR Bald if he, you know what I mean? They would just have like a regular match. Like, because they don't know these little nuances the Nasty Boys have. And yeah, man, phenomenal match. And I'm excited to see, I'm excited to see where the Nasty Boys go from here as workers. Because again, like even like when I would buy these old VHS tapes, I would like not pay attention to Nasty Boys matches in the WCW. I would just wait for the Hogan or the NWO matches, And I'm excited now to watch them with a trained eye.
And I would say you need to watch these
the trilogy.
The trilogy of these Nasty Boys. It's a must watch. You have to understand, it's a must watch as a wrestling fan. It's a must watch. Yeah. Okay. Means Krillin, he says, hey, you can vote now on the hotline, and whether or not you want to decide if Cactus Jack should be banned from ever wrestling again in WCW because of what we just saw, right? And
because he put in his notice he was leaving in September. So
yeah. And he invites Luthez and Vern Gagne, and let me tell you something, Vern Gagne and Mean Gene, they do take their time to kind of shit on the match we just watched. They're like, that's not wrestling. That wasn't wrestling. I'm like, oh, you fucking old farts.
I mean, Vern Gagne barely thought fucking Hulk Hogan Iron Sheik was wrestling. The guy is like beyond old school, and that's why he went nowhere, and he's out of business.
Yeah. Bobby the Brain Heenan, he rejoins the commentary booth after he was checking on Funk, and he says, hey, you know what happened? Terry Funk is backstage. He jumped the Red Bastille. That was so funny. To me, it was really funny.
They should have shown this match.
Yeah. We're going to go to our final match. It is for the vacant international WCW World Heavyweight title. Not world, that's the international title. It's Vader with Harley Race versus Sting. We get a shot of Vlad, the super fan, with a Sting shirt, and he says, Sting is the next champion. Sting is the next champion. They go nose to nose, and they start mouthing off, and the crowd chants, Sting must die. Sting must die. Very funny. Vader, Vader just pounds on Sting, just pounds on him, and then Sting tries to fight back, and he hits a vertical suplex on Vader. But Vader does his signature dropping the elbow on your balls spot to get control of the match. Sting fights back, and it goes for a flying clothesline, but Vader ducks and hits Sting with Vader ducks, and Sting ends up hitting the referee, and this allows Vader to hit a choke slam and cover on Sting. However, the referee is down, so the 3 count never happens. Then Harley Race hits Vader with a very weak-looking chair shot because he's supposed to hit Sting, but Sting ducks, and Harley has to hit Vader, but it's such a fucking weak-looking chair shot. And anyway, even when that happens, Sting can't get the pin. Sting then sends Vader out twice to the floor, but then when Sting goes for a splash, Vader catches him and slams him, but he refuses to do the pinfall. Instead, Vader, repeating a mistake from previous, decides to go up for the moonsault. And he fucking misses the moonsault. And then Sting covers Vader. And then while he's covering Vader, Harley Race goes up top for a headbutt. And he goes for a headbutt. Sting moves out of the way, so he headbutts Vader instead. And then Sting hits a top rope splash for the win. And he wins the international title. After the win, Vader smashes a chair and he starts yelling at Tony Schiavone and Bobby Heenan. And it scares Bobby Heenan. That's how we end the show. I feel like we've kind of seen this ending in a Vader match, so I wasn't really happy with it.
I know. I like the Sting Vader match. You know, to me, we're never gonna see this again. They never one-on-one match again on pay-per-view. Then Vader dies, and Sting goes to AEW and wrestles the Young Bucks. So I wanted to enjoy one last time before they go their separate ways. In terms of, I think they have a three-way. They do wrestle each other in a three-way, but that to me is not the same thing. You know what I mean? So it was nice to see one last one-on-one. All in all, like was it their best match? No, but it was fine. All in all, what a great show! And you know, it has such better energy than WWF at the moment in '94. You know, it feels like a real company. It feels like a really. I understand why Hogan wanted to go there over Vince, because this is the problem, though. Vince was the guy who really needed Hogan. I don't think they really needed Hogan at this moment, but I think Hogan knew, like, Vince doesn't know what he's doing anymore. And I kind of think that if he did go back to WWF in '94, they would have had him on color commentary by '95. You know? They would have had him, like, the opening match wrestling fucking Sid Justice at SummerSlam, not in the main event. Because Vince was doing this dumb thing where he was trying to mitigate Randy. He was probably going to do the same thing to Hogan.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, so did you love it?
All in all, good pay-per-view. Definitely some matches on this you need to watch. There's a lot of must-watch matches on this show, so they're pretty good.
Yeah. All right, so the next 4 weeks, let's talk about it. Next week, it's King of the Ring '94 with Jerry Lawler versus Roddy Piper. Imagine going from Nasty Boys and fucking Cactus shit. In 2 weeks, Bash at the Beach '94, where it's Hogan versus Flair. In 3 weeks, it's SummerSlam '94, Undertaker versus Undertaker. Oh, yeah. God. And then in 4 weeks, it's Fall Brawl '94, where it's the Rhodes family versus the Stud Stable in War Games, Daddy.
I'll be honest with you. I think WCW, I'm more excited for the WCW pay-per-views this time.
Yeah, me too. I never saw King of the Ring '94. Have you? I've never seen this one.
I've never seen that one either. I am excited for King of the Ring '94, but I feel like I'm really interested in seeing Hogan's debut, pay-per-view debut, WCW. You know?
Yeah, I mean, WCW is just a more fun right now in 1994. WCW is just a more fun company to watch. I really do feel, and I really do feel like Vince just doesn't know what he's doing anymore. Like,
yeah, WCW has better workers at this point.
He has better work. Who, Vince?
No, WCW.
Oh, WCW.
They got Dustin Rhodes. They got Steve Austin. They got the Nasty Boys. They got Cactus Jack. They got Ric Flair. They got Sting. They got Vader. Dude, they just have way better talent in WCW at this point.
Here's the other thing. Here's the other thing too with WWF. If you notice, and you're gonna notice because you're gonna watch Bret Hart. You know, they end WrestleMania 10 with like Bret Hart's the man. He doesn't main event a single pay-per-view the rest of the year. Actually doesn't main event a pay-per-view until Survivor Series '95. Even though he's champ, his matches are in the middle. You know?
Not a good look. It's not a good look, brother.
So it's like you didn't really get behind him. I know you say you did, but you didn't really. He's like in the middle of the show, you know? All right. So that's the show. If you enjoyed the podcast, subscribe. Follow us on YouTube, Ray Goots Comedy on TikTok, Andrew Son of Lee on Instagram. And we will see you next week for the King of the Ring 1994. Thank you.